Welcome to the As If That Happened podcast, where we chat about all our favorite movies and TV shows and all the entertainment. Today's episode, we are going to be talking about the second part of Ouran High Host Club, episodes 7 to 12. So how did you feel rewatching these episodes?
Oh, the nostalgia is there.
No.
It really made me think about high school a lot. It made me think about how much I really loved each character and why I loved like certain characters throughout the whole entire show. But yeah, no, what was your thought actually?
Yeah, no, same. I just loved how crazy they've been in these next few episodes where I just remember I just remembered how like how much they dressed up and how much effort they actually put into these host clubs
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and like how their personalities are actually all so different. Like Kyoyo is there purely as like from a business perspective, trying to sell everything. Even when in this episode 7, in this first like they thought they were all going on a holiday for the pool, but really he needed testers for his family's like pool like resort business venture. It's like, oh, I thought we were getting treated to like, something fun and
And exciting.
and it's just a holiday for us to relax. But it's like, no, there's an underlying business situation going on there. Nothing is purely just for fun.
Yeah, and I guess like them being guinea pigs, he uses that to his advantage. I think what really surprised me the most was that even though they have a facility for like a pool and everything else, that his family still runs like a medical department, which I'm like, I always tend to forget that he's still part of the med sector, but yet he has different aspirations. So like, all right, I forgot having to see the different sections of the pool and how each host member interacts with is is it tells a lot, like it says a lot about their character and little bits and pieces that no one would ever thought to see. um but one scene that I loved in this particular episode when was Haruhi, when she got kidnapped by the twins, and obviously they had maids that are twins, I would assume, and giving her all the options of these swimsuits. Like
Oh yeah.
I feel so sorry for her. Like they think that she doesn't have a swimsuit, or that they're really doing the most to make Tamaki have a go at it.
I love how much they're like almost just teasing Tamaki the whole time. Like they
Yes.
know that he's essentially obsessed with her, and like they're essentially just teasing him, right? It's like, oh, imagine her in this kind of bikini. All the other guys will see her in that kind of bikini too, and he is like, wait a minute, no.
And it took him a while to process it until later, and especially when he was able to see her first before everyone else, it's like, uh wear this jumper, look daggy, it's fine.
Oh, but in this episode, we also got to find out more about Mori and Honey.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like I said, we've already seen this before, so we knew that that was a thing. But I always found it so funny that contrast between like Honey's demeanor, like he's like he likes cute things and cakes, and he's also like this karate prodigy. I mean, you could see it with Mori Senpai. You knew he was probably some sort of like,
Yeah.
strong fighting dude, and they're cousins.
Yes, they are.
They're cousins, but also Mori is like indebted to him or something, like from centuries past. I didn't like his master or something like that. that's why their relationship is him always like looking after Honey
Mm-hmm,
because of
mm-hmm.
that relationship. But yeah, they're like kick-ass people.
It still surprises me that they are cousins and also their back history. Even after watching it again, I'm like, no, this can't be right. This is absolutely bizarre.
Even like so Honey Senpai in this episode gets swept away because you know, and they would go off looking for him. And in the guys fighting about something, I think about Haruhi, Mori and Haruhi just leave, and they think that Haruhi is Honey and Mori is the attacker, and they're just like, that guy, that's a cute
That's
cute
a
boy
cute.
being held hostage by an unknown man. We gotta fight him. And it's just so funny that just like in a side note, Kyoya goes, "Oh yeah, I don't think I gave a proper description of, of the missing
No,
person."
that's the one thing that Kyo never did was give them a proper description as to who the lost child was. I think also during the search, the scenes where they found out that there was crocodiles and panicked because they weren't too sure why there was crocodiles in a in a facility of like a pool district, and they're like, Kyo's
What?
just
Yeah,
like,
right.
yeah,
No, we're testing it now.
yeah,
It's there.
oh, we're putting that there for the fun. It's like, I don't think this is healthy at all.
But I do find because they don't really get scenes together, Mori and Haruhi,
No,
because
they
he's just
really
so
don't.
quiet. So I just found that little like 30-second clip of him just carrying her around while she's like, huh, what's happening? To me, so
Mm-hmm.
funny. And then while like the twins and Tamaki are just arguing over by the gazebo still, like just everything happening was so chaotic.
Yeah, and especially I think even after them losing Haruhi and also Mori and Honey whilst they were just like trying to find each other, I really think that it really developed their friendship even more than what we all saw at like the first 6 episodes. Like it really strengthened their
Mm-hmm.
relationship whilst having like that mini heart attack that they've lost half of their team members or like half of the host clubs to some unknown area that Hyo just was like, we're test guinea pigs for my family business.
Oh gosh. Do you find it funny though that at the end of the episode, like at the start of the episode, she's like, I don't even like pools. But then at the end, she's like, I want to go to the beach.
Yes.
It's like, what? to,
And it's like,
but I gotta say, I like the experience of the beach. I don't love the ocean. It's kind of scary in the ocean. But then the pool is not as fun because there's nothing to do but go in the water. Like on the beach, you can have like a picnic.
I do prefer the beaches over the pools any day because again, you're in the sun, like you said, there is a picnic, there's more things to do, and there is that possibility of like catching a dog here and there and just like
Catching
allow
a
the dog and
dog.
well, like seeing a dog, okay, not catching a dog, but like seeing
I
a
just had
dog.
this image of you like, oh, doggy, mine. I don't know. I think I like the pools if it's like a resort pool. Like if there's other things to do. Like just like
Yeah,
a
the
public
beaches all the
pool.
way.
But I
Beaches
like
all
the
the way.
environment of the beach better. But I'm scared of the ocean, man. That place that's scary. You get swept
I
out to sea,
mean, it
you're dead.
is, it is.
Also
The
sharks.
ocean is, but that's like so rare to see a shark. Maybe. I don't know. I've never seen a shark yet. As of yet, I've only seen jellyfishes, and I wondered to myself, I'm like, if I step on this, do I die?
we went
That was,
to we went on a
we went to
holiday
Queensland.
together where it was like jellyfish season when we decided to go for a walk on the beach, and it was not that fun.
But speaking of beaches, episode 8 was basically all about beaches.
Yeah, because she wanted to go to the beach, which is again another one provided by Kyoyo and his business like ideals, where they all thought they were going to go on a holiday, and then Kyoyo is like, "No, we have to work because we need the money," and he had brought in like all the girls from the host club.
Mm-hmm.
for them to still entertain, and they were like, we just wanted to, relax.
Yeah. Which I feel so bad for her. She just wanted to at least have fun at the beach. Like because she's already stated that she doesn't like the pool or like any form of like going out as much. But I
But
think
she
the one
wanted
thing,
the beach,
yeah,
and then they like
but she
ruined
wanted the
it.
beach. Yeah, exactly. Because all of the hosts are there and it became work and she's like, "Oh, okay, like whatever." But I think the one thing that really, really got me there was the twins. They were like, yeah, Karu and Hikaru. They were like, "Oh, I thought we were going international," and then the all of them were like, "No, we're not going international because Haruhi doesn't have a passport." They're like, "Oh my god." And it's just like,
Um,
oh, they really are looking after her, but at the same time, they really are going the mile of like teasing her because of how she is like a commoner, but they don't recognize it at all.
Yeah, and this whole time, I know you were saying you're feeling sorry for her, but they were trying to find out what her weakness was, because, like, in
Yes.
their perspective, she wasn't like other girls where she was afraid of every, like, bugs. Like, she was going the seafood scene where they thought they were finding these, like, mountains of seafood, but really they had brought it in for her and Honey to find just for them
Yes,
to be happy.
that
I was just like, what?
that cracked me up so much because it was the best scene ever. After they mistaken Honey for Haruhi, they're like, "Oh my god, what's the best apology thing?" And Kyo's is like, "Yes, good job, everyone. You're making them very happy. Continue as you are." And then all you see is just like buckets of like crabs and everything. And then Tamaki is just like in the background and Haruhi's like putting out her like feminine side. And then all of these girls are like, is there another girl up in here or something? Like, who was that? And then after that, oh, Tamaki. He's just like, oh yeah, keep going. You're making him so happy. But he's only thinking about her he during that time. That was probably the highlight of it. But in saying that, um, because it got really dark in this episode as well. Like I don't know how you felt about this one, but I felt it slightly had like a dark element where Haruhi slightly forgot that she was actually a girl and tried to stick up for a few of the students that came with them. And then she just tried to really help them all together, but in saying that she she needed help herself, but she didn't want to admit it.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't that she forgot she was a girl. I think it was eye opening sort of towards the end of the episode when Tamaki finds out that she is afraid of lightning or thunder. That
Yeah.
she says a quote, she says, "I'm fine, just leave me. I'm used to getting through these things by myself." And then it was eye opening to hear that the reason she's so tough and she was willing to take on those guys is just purely because she does these things on her own. She knows how to get through them by herself, and it's not always out of want. She needed to. As a kid, without her mother, she had to get through these things that scared her by herself. So she became not afraid of them. I thought that was a really, after all this time that we keep making fun of Tamaki for being so obsessive over her, and he still like really loves her as a friend, at least. Like he's really protective of her. Although it was so funny after that thunder scene when she had a blindfold and then they all
Oh
walk
my
in and they're like, "What are
yes.
you doing?"
And then they all had a go at him. But before, like, I know this is backtracking way before, like, they had a mini fight, and all of them were like, well, this is intense and very awkward. And they were like chowing down on like crab and everything. And every time she chowed down on a crab stick, he would be like, oh, I'm so sorry. And she's like, and I'm like, oh my God. You guys are all dramatic. It's so funny.
They have competition in the next episode with because everybody loves Haruhi. I can't even recall like how they ended up the Zuka Club from Saint Lobelia Academy kind of get
Right.
introduced in this episode, and they're like kind of making fun of the host club because they have their own sort of host club in their own thing, and they're like, "You guys are stupid."
They did not appreciate the host club, but I think that was like a celebration that was happening. I think that's why they got invited was because of like a celebration and mingling between the different schools. It was like a school festival.
But I just found it funny that they were like, "We want Haruhi." It's like she belongs with us, and everything that we find out that the host academy doesn't even have like a history. It's a very new academy, and Kyoya up to his business stuff again, selling her pencil that she got really mad about. And it was so funny because it's like, why were you mad about it? Maybe it meant something to her. No, it was free. And we find out that Haruhi loves her free stuff, which, I mean, I think we all love our free stuff.
Oh, I love my free stuff. If there's like free delivery or like
Free
free samples,
samples. Yeah.
oh, I'm there. I'm there in a heartbeat.
Because even in this episode, so the St. Lobelia Academy wanted Haruhi and they were trying to like poach her essentially for their school. And the guys were like, we can't lose her. And they come up with yet another crazy plan, as they do, because that's what they're good at. They dress up as like women. They dress up as women um, to kind of entice her. But their tagline was, "You'll get the guys, but you'll also get like new sisters." And I love how Haruhi just laughed, like, "You guys are stupid." But I love also that they were trying to entice her with free stuff. They were trying to get her to like her weakness of free things.
They know the key to how to really grab onto her and to get her to stay longer, no matter what it is. Like they will say your fatty tuna and then free stuff, and you get sisters, not just men. what what is this girl not wanting? But I do love the fact is that she was very lighthearted about the idea that they really push towards the effort of dressing up as females and not making her feel uncomfortable, like not just being just the male and figure and everything else, but
Yeah, and not
um
even that. Like
yeah.
she was saying that I don't need you guys to dress up as anything
Mm,
else or anything like that. Like I choosing to stay, even though she kept getting dragged into this argument. She was like, it was really no competition. You guys are essentially my friends and family at this point. It's we're not gonna change. I'm not gonna change schools just because there's girls on this side. But
yeah,
those girls were in love with her already at that point, as they
they
were
were
when they
in
also
love.
like the host club boys were also in love with her from like the moment that she came in. So she just
Yeah.
has that quality about her.
I before we go into the next episodes and all that, um have you realized that in every single episode so far there has been one segment of a banana peel?
Yes.
Like I just found that so funny that in not just in episode 8 or 7, but also in episode 9, there's always a banana peel. And I'm like, where are these banana peels coming from? There's no one eating a banana at all unless it's the twins.
And there it's yeah, I love that they've used that as a accidental for things happening.
And they've also forgotten to highlight that it's like an arrow going down and all that. It's just there. And then you see these three Liberian girls swirl around outside and they trip on the banana. I don't know. It's like, what the hell? Who was eating a banana at this time? Who was eating 3 bananas?
Anyway, speaking of new characters, we finally meet her dad and go to her house.
Oh my god,
And
yes.
oh my gosh,
After
actually, before we get to the dad, I found it so funny in the beginning of this episode,
Mm-hmm.
Tamaki's dream about what he thought her living situation was like. Like it was just like full on starving and it's just like
And then having
nothing in
different
her
cups
house.
and everything. They were all like, what was it? After his dream, he called everyone up and they had like a conference meeting. It was seemed like a conference meeting, but he full had a panic attack, and all of them were like, it's fine. We're all gonna be fine. She's gonna be okay, blah blah blah. And then out of nowhere, Haruhi's just being her normal self in her normal hood, and all these fancy cars come in, and everyone, like literally the whole entire neighborhood comes in. It's like, wow, we are celebrities here.
Exactly. I love how they just made like this commotion in this little town, and she's just like, "Gosh, it was supposed to be a weekend. Like, I was supposed to
Mm-hmm,
have a
mm-hmm.
free day off with these guys." And all because Tamaki had this dream of like, "Oh my God, she's starving. We have to go get her right now."
We have to go and see her right now.
Even her dad's first impression of him was like, "He's an idiot."
But but that was because he came when her dad came to see the house, he was technically on top of her,
Yes,
which
that is true.
was
Another compromising
the
position.
yeah, the one thing that I did appreciate during that, like during this episode and everything, was that out of all the guys, Tamaki was the only one who gave respects to Haruhi's mom.
Yes, I did. I did write that down too. I thought that was
Yeah,
really, really nice of him
because
to.
like even though they were all in the living room, and obviously her mom was in the living room as well, like her ashes and everything, none of them realized, or like they didn't really showcase that a lot. And then when it was Tamaki to pay his respects, and before her dad came through, you like we really got the backstory of her mom, and how much you could tell that how much Tamaki really respects Haruhi, not only
Mhm.
for herself but also as her parents,
Mhm.
before he met his dad and had like a whole
Yeah.
entire mushroom garden towards the end. It really did show that he really did care for Haruhi, as much as we all knew that he really loved Haruhi, but now we know that he really respects her.
No, I agree. That was really sweet. But and it's so funny because you notice a lot of the mannerisms, his protectiveness over Haruhi, and I like how obsessed he is about how cute she is. Him and Tamaki are like mirrors of each other. And even the guys notice, like there was a moment when they were like, "Oh, so that's why she's so good at handling the boss, because her
Mhm.
dad is essentially him."
Yes,
Like
yes,
they're just like two sides of the same coin. They're
they really
so
are.
they're so similar in their mannerisms, especially towards Haruhi.
But one thing that I kind of had a reflection on after watching after watching episode 10, was that it was really fascinating to know that Tamaki had already labeled himself as the dad for Haruhi, even though we never met her dad until this episode, and how easily they mirror each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Like they're so alike that it kind of fit with what he's already chosen anyway.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, exactly. Which only makes me wonder if Kyo is like his mom, is like
Her
her mom
mom.
exactly. Like,
Oh, we didn't talk about how Kyoya's already been like talking to the dad. Like he's just like, yeah, of course I've been, reading up on her and like researching everything. I know everything to know since she got here.
it's so creepy though that they have a relationship. Like they had a friendship relationship before they even came into the house. You know what? Episode 11. That was a how did you feel about that?
I it felt like very much a filler episode for me. So the last few episodes was learning more about Haruhi and her fears and her family life and like that sort of growth. But I think episode 11 was purely just the team getting back together to do weird, wacky things and making their what is it like their operations to kind of match make people back together. And I know this one was it Prince Neko
Yes, the Prince of Darkness, as they like to label.
and like sort of match make in quotations her him and his sister because they've done a lot of that sort of they want their clients to be happy. I know he's not really a client, but I guess the sister is the client.
Yeah,
um
I think the sister was the client towards the end, like throughout that whole entire episode without them even realizing. But the one the one thing is that they as a host club are afraid is actually Nico himself
yeah.
because he's such an oddball for them. They just there's a lot of black magic when it's not really black magic, but it's like they don't know what to do with him.
But you know who's back as well is Renge, just up from the floor. He's back.
Oh, she pops out of nowhere. I think she's the most randomest person out of all of them because she just pops out of nowhere. She's like a dandelion. Just goes, boop, I'm here.
Yeah, it was funny because she did just kind of appear, but to help with what's it called, making over him to
Mhm.
be less scary. I didn't really fully understand what was going on, but I just love how they were like trying to make him into a version of Tamaki essentially without scaring the girl.
Yes. Yes, but at the end he still scared his little sister because the way that he flashed the light was literally like a horror movie. Like look at me. I am going to tell you a ghost story. But I'm glad. I'm glad that they were able to really help both him and his sister come back together and like have that like no pull strings of her and get his sister to understand more of his world.
So after that, we kind of circle back around to sort of the first episode where we learned more about Mori and Honey, and in the 12th episode, we learn about their relationship again.
Oh, I
Sort of
love it.
just sort of emphasizing how close they are. But this one was kind of really cute to me because so Honey ends up with a cavity and cannot have cakes. Which
This is
okay,
okay.
dentally shouldn't he like go get fillings or something? Why in the world were they just like, oh, let it heal?
I don't know. I'm going to say this now. I think this is the one episode that made me fall in love with Honey Senpai even more as a character because of his background and how close he is with like Mori Senpai, but at the same time, like how convincing he can get with everyone about the situation. And I think after seeing his cavity situation and how the animations worked with the cavity, I just felt bad for him. But I was really surprised that they haven't gone and seen a
Like a
dentist.
dentist, right?
Have they
I
all
was
not
like,
gone
should
see a
that not be
dentist?
the first thing you do? But I love how cold Mori Senpai was. Okay, so in
Yes.
contrast, so I we jumped over it a bit, but the very first like scene of the episode was so funny to me because it was like a universally known thing that Honey does not like to be woken from his naps, and
But
he loves his bunny and he loves his cakes. It's like those are like
yeah.
one, two, three. Um, they stain the bunny and like they were freaking out. Like, what can we do to fix this? Like before he wakes up from his nap. And then like as he wakes up, he's like grumpy, and they're like, "Oh, guys, he's gonna kick our butts." And Maury just goes, "Yeah, he wanted some tea." Oh, so that's why his mouth's all dirty because he wanted some tea. You think he wants some cake too? I was like,
like
what? Like
like
Maury
Maury
knows
just
him so
knows.
well that he knows
Yeah.
exactly what to say. Like everyone else was like full panic mode. He is about to kill us. This is gonna be like disaster. We should just all leave the country now. Like they were in 100% panic mode, and Mario's just
But the most thing that was really funny within that whole scenario was that Haruhi had no idea what they were all talking about until they said about the rumors that happened with Honey when a soldier from the US was like, well, waking him up, like, oh, you need to wake up, we're doing training. He's like, not yet, I'm going to bed. And then there's like a whole explosion scenario, like thing happened. And I'm like, and once Haruhi found out, that's when she joined in the panic mode. And throughout that whole entire like conversation, they're like, oh, the reason why is because in an AB type of blood, and this is what happens, and blah blah blah. And then they pointed towards Kyo because Kyo is also an AB
AB.
type of blood, and he's like, I'm not like that. Like,
mm,
sure you're not.
well, yeah. But I just love the contrast between like how caring he is there. I mean, I know he sounded caring, but he was still very like flat about it. And then when Honey had the cavity, and Mori was like number one person, get the sweets away from him. Like when Honey had the backpack full of sweets or bag full of sweets, and she's like, no, I was just looking at them. And Mori just took the candy away. He's like, okay, if you're just looking, a picture is good enough for you. And I was like, wow, that was brutal. But yeah, and there was this whole dramatic scene about Mori and Honey and how Mori just felt like it was his fault because he didn't tell him to brush his teeth at one time. I was the twins in this scene because the twins are like, this is very dramatic. Because he was like on the ground, like crying, and Honey was so upset. I was 100% the twins where I was just like, what's happening?
I I don't think any of them are laughing. I would be that weirdo, just laugh because I'm like, okay. And especially because Honey said to Mori that he hated him and he was clumsy after
Yeah.
that. Like he lost a bit of him after he said that, which I'm like, holy crap. Like, damn, I feel so sorry for you. And then when he realizes, like, no, I'm at fault because I didn't tell him to brush his teeth 3 times a day.
Yeah, it was like, what? I thought it was gonna be something super dramatic. But I guess I mean like it made me laugh when he said that because I was like, what? What what are you
That's why he
talking
has
about?
cavities.
That's not I think it's eating all the cakes like every single day. That's what gave him the cavities.
Yes,
But you
yes.
know, I've liked these last few episodes. They've been funny, lighthearted. We get to know a little bit more about the characters, but I'm excited to rewatch again because I do remember a few episodes coming up where we do get a little more in depth about the individual characters. So I'm excited to get through those. What are you excited about for the next 6 episodes we're gonna be talking about next time?
I think for the next 6 episodes, but also the future episodes, I'm really excited to just rewatch it and just relive every moment that I've enjoyed the show on its own, and just to see how each character's development and whether or not we get to see a few more of their backstories. Like that would be great because we're only starting to like really dip our heads into like the tea to kind of say
Dip
is
our heads in the tea.
amazing.
Sorry, I don't know why I just visualized you dunking your head into a teacup. No, that's why that just made me laugh.
it it works well with the host clubs, that's for sure. But yeah, like besides that, like leave your comments down below and let us know what you guys are also excited for the next coming 6 episodes of Ouran High. Please do stay safe, turtles, wherever you are in the world, and spread your joy near and far. And until next time, stay cool. Ciao.